People say if you're over 50 and you're unemployed, you may never find a job again.
So I just woke up realizing that I don't have a job.
I'm 58, and I just realized that I may never work again.
I was laid off for over 4 years. We almost lost our house.
I'm almost 50 years old, and I feel like I'm starting all over again.
So I've covered mass layoffs and the terrible job market recently on this channel, but thanks to comments from some of you, I thought I would dig a little deeper into one specific group who has been hit especially hard: older workers. More and more people in their 50s and 60s are getting laid off, struggling to get rehired, and starting to realize that retirement might not ever happen. Or if it does, it's not going to look the way that they imagined. I've got lots to cover, along with some proven tactics and fresh ideas to help older workers land a higher paying job faster. I'm Justin, this is Tater. Let's get into it.
I'm almost 50 years old, and I feel like I'm starting all over again. I got laid off at the end of last year in 2024, and I still don't have a job. I'm applying, I've had interviews, I've had callbacks. Nobody has pulled the trigger. I do some online freelance type of work just to bring in a little bit of money, but it's nothing full-time, nothing permanent.
I am seeing more and more older people in general who are getting laid off, having to do freelance type of stuff, start their own business, just do things on their own, odds and ends to make ends meet. And here is a crazy stat. Older workers 50 plus are unemployed for an average of 5 to 6 months longer than younger people. And nearly half never return to full-time work. Leave some comments down below if you've been laid off recently, or if you have any experiences and tips you can share. Some comments under her video. It's called Discrimination Against Age. I'll get into some age discrimination topics shortly here. Another comment: I lost my job at 64 and not ready to retire. Been off work 9 months and know being 65 will be harder. The struggle is real. And a lot of people just simply don't save enough money and don't plan properly for retirement, and that just exacerbates the problem. Last comment: I'm 57 and can't find a job. Agism is real and it sucks.
So I just woke up realizing that I don't have a job. Wow. There was a lot of crying that went on yesterday because the shock value was it was freaking bad. Somebody's got to get better at letting people go because, dude, wow. I'm excellent in my job. I'm freaking amazing at my job. But I don't think people are going to hire me because they don't want someone 58.
And yes, I've covered this on the channel before, and she spoke about it. I think in a lot of cases, the HR could do a lot better job at the human side of the human resources. One of the comments: you don't look 58. You also don't have to tell them your age. Definitely, and I'm going to cover that later on, some tactics to not let people in on your age. One more comment, because the end of it is really good. Women over 50 are an asset because of attendance. Emphasize that in your interview, and certainly older people could emphasize in the interview that they are very hardworking, had really great or perfect attendance and that kind of thing, because the younger people they are competing against probably can't say the same thing, at least not honestly. Another crazy stat, and not crazy good, more like crazy bad: older Americans who lose their jobs typically earn 25 to 40% less in their next position if they land one at all.
Howdy, howdy. Well, I got the phone call today from my supervisor. Don't ever be loyal to a company, ever. Don't worry about 2-week notices because they will screw you. I just found that out. I've been working for the company for a year, perfect attendance, never had any issues, always did my job, was super efficient. Matter of fact, I was one of the most efficient people on second shift. I drive 2 hours round trip for work every day, 410s. Just got a call from my boss that the CEO or the upper management does not want me coming back in. They're just going to let me go.
One of the comments is great. I would never give notice. They wouldn't give me notice if they were going to fire me. I think in most cases, people should offer the standard 2 weeks notice. Sometimes it's even required, I think, depending on the type of job you have and where you're at. So I would do your homework before, not giving notice. But yeah, this commenter makes a great point. They don't give you any notice when they're letting you go, right? They're not like, okay, we're going to let you go, but you can work a few more weeks, so hopefully you can find something else in that time? No, they let you go and you're just gone. Another one amazes me that America does not have any employee rights. The governments are not giving us any protections over AI stealing our jobs. I mean, there are laws against age discrimination, but it's so easy for companies. They are so good. I'll get into this momentarily, but they are just so good at avoiding any lawsuits when it comes to age discrimination. And they just, if they want to get rid of someone who is older because they are older, they will probably be able to do that successfully.
We're not getting any younger. And I was laid off after my 50s. It was no fun. I was laid off for over 4 years. We almost lost our house. Credit cards were maxed out. My husband lost his job as well. It was a rough time. And I don't wish that on anybody. But I swore that I would never, ever, ever be put in that position again, and decided to find a side hustle that I could do even while I have a full-time job, which I do have now. And I fit it in between, and I'm building back our retirement, and things are looking up.
So many people are getting side hustles these days. Younger people, older people, it doesn't seem to matter. One job is just not enough anymore for so many of us. The cost of living is just so crazy. Like, the average wage does not come anywhere close to covering our daily costs. But if you do have that side gig or something else to fall back on in case you get laid off, now it's probably more important than it has been in a long time to have that.
I'm 58, and I just realized that I may never work again. Now, I'll make money, but I may never get hired by anyone ever again to go work for an organization or a company. Doesn't matter how good I am, doesn't matter my skill set, what I do, have done, doesn't matter how well I interview. The fact of the matter is, I very likely have aged out. A majority of hiring managers and recruiters feel that, I think it's either 54 or 57, is too old to even work. So what the hell are you going to do?
That's a crazy stat. And here is another one. Roughly 2 in 3 workers aged 50 to 64 say they've seen or experienced age discrimination at work, yet only 3% ever file a complaint. And out of those 3% that filed complaints, how many actually saw anything from that, right? Like, I have a feeling, especially if they work for a corporation or a large company, the lawyers that they have or are going to be able to pay for are probably going to be a lot better than ours. One of the comments is a lot more positive. I'm in HR and I can tell you I'd much rather hire an older person than a younger one. More reliable, less triggered, not entitled. The list goes on. And sure, there are those positives, but the bottom line matters, and younger people typically make a lot less than the older people. But look, younger people I talked about in the previous video I put out, they are having a really tough time finding jobs. Entry-level white-collar jobs are disappearing quick. AI is just wreaking havoc on the job market. One more because it's awesome. If you're over 50, drop any pre-2000 job from your resume, maybe pre-2005. Age aside, no one cares what you did 30 years ago anyway. Don't list the year when you graduated, just pretend to have roughly 20 years of experience around 45. Don't lie, but don't broadcast that you're 50 plus. So I think he means pretend that you're about 45 and that you have 20 years of experience, and really be strategic, right? Like, we have to these days be super strategic in the information that we provide. What's it doing for us if we tell them this? Do we absolutely have to tell them this? Is it going to hurt us if we do? And if it is there any way we can get around it? I'll cover some more strategies momentarily.
People say if you're over 50 and you're unemployed, you may never find a job again. And I think if you find yourself in a position where you haven't landed a job by October of this year, I think you're going to struggle until February, March of next year. And I hope I'm wrong. What I see are companies that are in a holding pattern trying to figure out just what to make of this whole AI thing. Because now studies are coming out saying that companies that have went all in on AI aren't actually seeing the return that they thought they were going to see. And so now they're trying to decide, do I continue to go down deep and play the long game with it, or do I parachute out and go back to the way that I was before? And all the people who aren't in it are now taking a step back saying, wait a minute, maybe we just need to hold tight and not make any decisions until we see what happens to some of these other people.
The comments do not paint a rosy picture. Either 55, been looking for 2 years, DQ gave me a chance. Not sure what they were doing before, but it probably wasn't working for a fast food company. Another one, my dad is 57 and has been applying for almost a year. He's so sad about it. He has over 30 years experience. Another alarming stat, about 56% of American retirees left work earlier than planned, mostly due to layoffs, health issues, or caregiving responsibilities, not because they wanted to retire.
3 layoffs, no savings, no 401k, and I was buying our home when it happened. My name is Rita. I'm a 56-year-old Gen Xer, and I was laid off from my corporate job of 24 years in 2 minutes over Zoom. I was angry, mad, and upset, but bills don't care about that. And Social Security will not be enough. That's why I got on social media and started my own online business. I want to be able to take vacations, pay off debt, and spoil my grandkids and not retire broke and struggling.
And what did she say? Social Security. That is definitely not enough, whether in the US, Canada, maybe over in Europe it's better, but certainly here it comes nowhere close to covering the cost of living. So if we don't save for ourselves, have a pension, or have a really good retirement plan and fund, then we are really screwed and just have to keep working.
The new reality is that people in their late 50s and 60s are really the new unemployables. I already lost my 32-year corporate job, but what I'm hearing when I do these posts is that people are having a tough time getting a job. And it seems to be unlikely that they're going to get a job at the same pay rate that they were making for however long, 32 years like me. What are you going to do if it ends today? What are you going to do?
A good financial plan is super important. And like I said, the crazy stats on how much money people make after they've been laid off and the next job that they get, it is a huge pay cut. So people really have to plan and be prepared for that. One of the comments, you'll need to do something different for less. I may do teaching for a third of my salary and then supplement with something else. A lot of people, unfortunately, this is going to be the reality.
I received a comment yesterday about being laid off for over a year, being at the peak of my career, and thousands of you replied saying you're going through the same thing. I know that I've gone to apply for work at entry-level positions. One particular company said, we just don't think you'd be happy in this position, it being entry-level and you're not being challenged.
And that's the whole thing with overqualified, right? A lot of older people have a ton of experience and would be really good probably at the jobs that they're applying for, but they're too qualified.
I applied to a director position or a leader position in that same company, and they said, you know what, we're hiring internally. We're just hiring outside because of a survey that we're doing.
Great. We're just wasting everyone's time. Maybe this is even one of those ghost jobs and they didn't want to be honest about that. I'll leave a link below to an older video I did about ghost jobs because an alarming percentage of job postings out there are not even real. Looking down in the comments, same, I have applied to many jobs only to be told the position has been put on hold. And again, that could be one of those ghost jobs. Another one happening to me, people don't understand that the worst place you can be is years into a successful career and then laid off because the roles you qualify for, you get ghosted or passed on, and the roles below your experience, you're overqualified for. Another one, I'm going through the exact same thing. Another one, laid off at 58. Now I'm 63 and I'm still struggling to find anything.
They don't fire you. They make you look like the problem. All of a sudden, you stop getting invited to meetings. Your projects are handed off to other people. But the reality is they're quietly phasing you out. Another way they do it, they tell you you're not keeping up. New tools, new systems, no training, no tech support. Suddenly, you're the one who's resistant to change. The best one is that when they use your attitude against you. You question a policy. You're not a team player. You ask for clarification. You're being difficult.
Looking down in the comments, we're seeing a ton of people experiencing this. I am on stress leave because of this. My mental health affected so bad. I was on higher dose of antidepressants. Another one, it's happening now. Another one, I waited until they fired me so I can get unemployment. I'm leaving with something. They seem happy about that, so that's good. But another one, it's happening to me now. Another one. Last one. Yes, my manager is a bully. So many people are experiencing the same thing. It's crazy. So let's look at some tips for people to be able to at least hold on to their job, whether they're putting up with this or not. The first one is to stay obviously, visibly adaptable and tech confident. Keep learning even small visible things like AI tools, mastering Teams or Zoom or something like that, or taking short online courses. Managers often subconsciously assume older workers can't keep up. Showing visible adaptability crushes that stereotype. And then a bonus, mention in meetings or emails when you're trying something new, because perception, optics, they matter. So don't just be adaptable, be seen as adaptable. Every time you adopt a new process or tool, make sure management knows about it. Here's another tip, build internal relationships and mentor younger coworkers. Strong workplace allies protect you in restructuring. Being known and respected reduces layoff risk. Mentoring younger staff or helping with onboarding shows leadership value beyond just your job title. And look, people remember who helped them, right? So if you've always been known as the helping hand, they're probably going to be a lot less likely to lay you off. Last one, quantify your value and communicate it. Keep a record of achievements, cost savings, efficiency improvements, client wins, training hours delivered, etc. Don't be modest. Make sure that you capture all of your wins and let people know about it. Of course, you have to do it in a strategic way so you don't seem like you're bragging or making your other coworkers look bad. So people just have to put some thought into it and be strategic. Share results in reviews or casual updates. Managers often forget long-term contributions unless you remind them. And as we've all seen with people being addicted to their phones and having the instant gratification, people's attention spans are shorter. So you really have to drive home your points these days. It's more important than it's probably ever been.
As soon as you're over 45, employers start trying not to hire you. And most ageism happens before they meet us in our resumes. So here are my top 5 tips to ageism-proof your resume. Step 1, remove everything that they haven't been teaching to put in resumes since like 2005. We're talking your exact address, an objective statement, adding references or even references available upon request. 2, cut out the dates of your education. 3, say goodbye to any experience that's over 20 years old. Unfortunately, they do not care about some amazing win you had in 2002. If that's your best selling point on your resume, you are in trouble. 4, this one's super specific, but it's a dead giveaway that you're over 50. If you put 2 spaces after a period, that is not something we've done since the 80s. And 5, make sure your birth year isn't in your email. I'm looking at you, John77 at hotmail.com.
So that's some great advice on the resume side of things, but looking at the bigger picture for older people who have been laid off or are scared that they might get laid off. So some great ideas to land a higher paying job more quickly. Rebrand your experience, not your age. Lead with skills and results, not years. Replace phrases like 30 years of experience with deep experience driving results in. Update your photo, LinkedIn headline, and language. Be modern, confident, and concise. And consider fractional or contract roles. Companies will pay more for specialized expertise short-term than full-time generalists. People can think about consulting, right? Like how can they use their experience to benefit them? Number 2, target industries that value experience. Consulting, project management, education, healthcare, and professional services still reward maturity and reliability. Certain fast-growing areas like cybersecurity, finance, renewable energy, they value leadership and judgment over youth. And then government and unionized sectors often offer more stability and higher pay scales for senior roles. Ultimately, don't chase every opportunity. Go where your experience is a currency and not a cost. And number 3, network. That goes for everybody, but do it publicly and deliberately. 70 to 80% of mid to senior level jobs come through personal networks rather than postings. Attend industry webinars, comment on LinkedIn, reconnect with ex-colleagues. Quietly letting people know that you are available triggers opportunities a lot faster and better than like resume blasts. Like I've shown on previous videos, just throwing 100 resumes out there per week, it really doesn't do anything. There's like something like a 99% failure rate when you just apply like that. Last sub tip, use value posts on LinkedIn, share a tip or insight to show your credibility. Ultimately, the job market is brutal, but if you can leverage your relationships, create new ones, continue to network, you will likely see faster and better results.
Here's the truth. Being laid off at 54 doesn't mean you're finished. It means the old system can't see your value, but that doesn't mean it's gone. You're not too old. You're too experienced for the wrong environment. And here's what I tell someone in this exact situation. Number 1, forget big company approval. Find where you're needed. Mid-sized businesses, startups, nonprofits, they value maturity, pattern recognition, and stability. They may not say it in the job post, but they need someone who can lead, guide, and get things done with less hand-holding. Number 2, turn your expertise into income. Don't just look for a job, look for a function you can own. Can you consult, coach, offer fractional leadership, teach others the system you just spent 25 years mastering? You've got career equity. Cash it in wisely. Number 3, upskill just enough to stay sharp, not to start over. Google Workspace, Slack, Canva, QuickBooks, Zoom, project management tools. And number 4, start a second curve career, not a downgrade. upgrade. You can build your own bridge into the next decade of work. Think freelance CFO or COO for startups, leadership coach for younger professionals, trade-based small business owner. You're not done. You're just in the career middle zone that corporate systems weren't built for. But the world still needs what you know. You just have to bring it to the right table.
One of the comments is great from Big Bear Jake. This happened to me at 57. I found a job at a small-sized business and took all my experience and shared it with them. I've been here for 3 years, and to be honest, I am much happier now rather than when I was in a high-powered corporate environment. And I can attest that in a lot of cases, working for a smaller company is a lot easier. It's less stressful. There's less pressure. And for older people, you can help the younger people there. The smaller companies will probably value you a lot more than the larger ones. So let me know down in the comments, what has your experience been in the job market if you're an older worker? Have you lost your job recently? Been out of work for a while? Have any tips on getting a higher paying job faster that I haven't covered here? Would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you know anyone who would like this video or benefit from it, please share. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.